into clinical research part 1. Hello everyone and welcome to today's session. Through research, our curiosity and the questions grow. Through research, we change, prosper, and improve. Through research, we found answers, solutions, and the cures. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any question during the presentation, please type them in Q&A box, not in chat, in Q&A box. At the end of the lecture, speaker can answer if time allows. If there is no time to answer all of your questions, you can reach me later at WhatsApp or email to answer your questions. A recorded version of this webinar will be available for 30 days. The link will send to you soon. And your questions or comments are welcome throughout this period. Thank you again for joining us on this journey. We wish you all the best on the course. You conduct your study and analyze your data. Then you have to put puzzles together. So deep dive with Dr. Mohammed Al-Tanir to know how to write the manuscript. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Mohammed Al-Tanir. Welcome, Dr. Mohammed.
Thank you, Dr. Amani. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your efforts during this week. I know how hard it was on you. If you allow me, please, to share the screen. A research proposal. I would prefer to start with Dr. Amani. Do you allow me to start with writing a research proposal because it's more logical to talk about writing a research proposal ahead of writing a research manuscript? This will make it more. Thank you.
Yes, of course, you are right. Proposal should be before manuscript. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's go through the journey of how to write a research proposal. I will give you the tips and guidelines about writing a successful research proposal. I showed you this slide on Monday, and we talked that research proposal constitutes stage 2 of the research pathway. So as you see, research proposal by itself is one of the 3 main stages of this project needs time and money. So we write a good research proposal also to seek funding for this project. So 2 main reasons behind writing a research proposal is getting IRB approval and seeking a grant for my project. What are we trying to do when we write a grant proposal? We are trying to get funding for my research idea. So this idea should be developed in very clear language to sell that idea, because people who want to really fund your research, they must read something that is really clear, direct. And you have to keep in mind that whenever you write the proposal, write it in the eyes of readers, of people, reviewers who will review your proposal to evaluate it. So don't write it in your eyes, but write it in the evaluator's eyes. So, and include the significance of the idea in that language. Proposal should have strong rationale. Why you want to conduct this proposal? What's it's going to offer to your patient, to your community, to the overall healthcare in your nation. And also, you have to be realistic in the sales pitch. What that means? So if you want to conduct a survey on university students, on 500 university students, you won't ask of medicine in Saudi Arabia. So you need at least 10 to 12 coordinators to do so. So you need to hire 10 to 12 coordinators that are physically in different the kingdom. So you need to conduct a standardization training for these data collectors in order not to perform the measurement biases during collecting of data or influence the people that will fill the questionnaire. So this is, if you see, I have only one coordinator here settled with me in Riyadh. So what about Khobar? What about Jeddah? What about Dammam? What about Jazan? What about others? So whenever you write the proposal from the beginning, the problem that might face you during the conduct of your proposal will be identified earlier, and you will solve them before starting your proposal. So you start, communicating with people in all region, asking them if they know like a qualified coordinator to handle this study. You will interview them, you will hire them, you tell them, I need you from this time to that time, I will pay you so, and so on.
Dr. Muhammad, sorry for interruption, but sometimes your voice is interrupted. So I think if you turn off video, the connection should be better.
Okay, no problem. Also, it provides guidance while the research is in process. When is my voice better now?
Yes. Thank you.
So it provides guidance while the research is in process. Guidance because you will consider the proposal is like the manual. Whenever we buy a mobile or any machine, it has a manual with it. It will tell us what to do, how to operate it, how to use it. Same thing for the research proposal. As we said when we talked on Tuesday, data analysis using specific tests.
Now we can hear you.
Yes, because it came a notice that record is in progress, so it put me automatically on unmute. Okay.
Thanks.
So this is something from your side. Provide documentary evidence of planned analysis and research team management, and everything is in writing. Who will handle the study if the PI
Dr. Muhammad, sorry to interrupt you, but can you share your slide again, please?
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Trying to do it again. On a band of sharing. Share screen. You can see it now.
No, still we couldn't see. Now we can see, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So we said it also provides documentary evidence of planned analysis. It provides documentary evidence of the task of each member of the research team. And this will really solve a lot of conflicts if so-called wasn't really putting or fulfilling his task, so we can replace him. We can identify we can really also name the principal substitute for the proposal and so on. So this is really very important, and these three benefits are really very important about writing a proposal. So designing a study, as we know by now, that after finalizing the research question and come up with and choosing the best study design to answer my research question, I start writing my proposal. What are the characteristics of a good proposal? A proposal should be feasible. How do we really ensure this feasibility? By adequate number of subjects. It's very important that you have to know that you have access to source population. Your sample is accessible. You have really access to a good number of patients to be recruited or to participant to be involved in the study. Adequate technical expertise, affordable in time and money. The PI, the research team, should have enough time for the study, manageable in scope. These are the 4 criteria that ensure the feasibility of a proposal. The proposal also should be interesting to you as a researcher, something that you to be passionate about. And what I say here, you don't only have to love the project you are working on, but you have to be in love with it. And there is a big difference, as we all know, loving someone or loving something and being in love with something. So you give it indefinite support, time, passion, and motivation. Something to be an expert in. Do not get in. It's not your primary area of matriz. Like if you have to feel like you are the master of this research area, and something that you think you can make a difference in the world whenever this project is completed. That's take me back to the rationale of the study. What are the expected outcomes behind this proposal? So the rationale why you want to conduct this research, and what do you expect after completing this you have to have in minds to convince them, especially when you apply for a grant. Also, a proposal should be novel. Novel doesn't mean that it should be totally new. Sometimes the novelty is originated from confirming reject. So what should I do? I will really take this issue and said my rationale behind conducting this research is to take either part based on a very well conducted designed proposal. Extending previous findings, we all know that generalizability in research is very important factor. So sometimes we need to conduct, if a study was conducted in Finland and another in Montreal, Canada. So what I have done in other parts of the world like Saudi Arabia, India, North Africa, in order to really make sure, generalize the findings of the previous trial that were made, because we are using them on different traits, different culture, different environment, biological factors. So extending previous finding is also considered as a novel research. Provides new findings, something new, nobody did it before. This also is considered as a novel. Ethical, we all know that we have to really uh, for any research we want to start, we have to keep in mind that no harm should be really brought to my participants. And ethical issues, again, it is really maintained by the three pillars of Belmont report: respect for persons by obtaining informed consent, appropriate and logic that I will conduct research if I'm in the ID field or ICU field to conduct a study about COVID-19 and not MERS and COVID-MERS, because that's what is pandemic now and it's really hot is COVID-19. Clinic to public health or health policy. We all know that some topics might be very interesting to you, but they are not for the public health for the public health domain, health policy, or even clinically are not relevant anymore. To future research directions, we always, whenever we read the literature, there are always guidance from the authors to guide us what is still needed in this area of research. So we have always to follow this direction in order to continue the path that good previous researchers have started. So let's talk now about proposal structure. I will take the King Abdulaziz City for Science and Technology as a template, and it is used in the majority of our funding agencies in the kingdom. So many of you maybe already submitted proposal for funding. Others have no experience at all. We will go through this journey step by step. The template of KEX contains 20 sections. Section 1 is the cover page. 2, table of content, proposal summary in Arabic, proposal summary in English, introduction, objectives, literature review, and so on. So title should be an effective title, not only piques the reviewer's interest, but also predisposes him, her favorably toward the proposal. What that means in practice. We should write a very informative, direct, and transparent title. Like if you are conducting a survey in your own university, do not put a national survey about Saudi students. It's not a national because your university does not represent the nation. It represents the medical or the students in your city or region, but does not represent the nation. So try to be transparent and try to reflect the content of your proposal or research project idea and your title. If you are conducting a clinical strength, this will really attract the reader to see, oh, this is an important study, this is a clinical trial. So this is very important to do, and don't be redundant in your title. Don't put a title of 3-4 lines. Try to be concise, like 75 characters at 5 letters, like 10 to 12 words maximum in your title. So as I said, it should be concise, descriptive, reflecting the content, and it should clearly indicate the independent and dependent variables. What means dependent and independent? As you Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Dr. Muhammad.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but your voice was interrupted before, so I don't know. What about your
I don't know today, maybe there are with the internet connection.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the problem is.
Because still your voice is interrupted. So, Doctor, just, I don't know, do you have an alternative connection?
Yeah, I cannot hear you well.
If you like to take 5 minutes break, then to fix your connection, then come back. Dr. Muhammad, we couldn't hear you. So we will take 5-minute breaks. I hope in that time, Dr. Muhammad can fix the connection.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, doctor, we can hear you.
Sorry about that, but I don't know what the problem today.
No, your voice is good. I hope that it will continue like that.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Just a second to get the... No. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Yes, now we can see.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So I will repeat what I said about title. Maybe it wasn't clear enough. We said we have to really put a very informative, direct, concise title. It should not exceed more than like 10 to 15 words at the maximum. And a good advice and tip, almost use your objective or aim as your title. So include in your title the dependent and independent variable. Independent variable, that mean it is the primary outcome of your study. Dependent variable is what you are, dependent variable is your end point, primary endpoint of your study. And independent, what you are really collecting as variables from your participants. But it will be preferable if you put your study design in the title, specifically like put a survey, a clinical trial, a retrospective review. This will be very important because it will reflect the content of your study transparently. So this is usually what is the cover page of the fund application. You fill up this, you put the team of the research as a PI and co-investigator. You have to give table of content with precise page numbers. Why we said so? Because sometimes when a reviewer is really wants to go back to any section of the 20 section of your proposal, he will look exactly, as you see, a proposal may be up to like 80 pages. So it's better and time consuming to go directly to the number of page. If he wants to know about detailed budget, he goes to 59, page 59. If he wants to go to the objectives, he go to page 6. So this is very important. Give it time and be really like picky and precise in stating the exact page number that correspond to the table of content, each table of content section. The third section of proposal is abstract, is the summary. You have to provide it in Arabic and in English. So section 3 will be abstract in English. You have to really give a brief, concise summary of the whole project. Here also, I want to give you a tip. Do not copy and paste from the main body of your proposal to put it in your summary. This will not really provide a comprehensive summary. You have to write your summary at the end after finishing the whole proposal. And you have to write it if like you are giving a biodata, a brief biodata about yourself. So you have to really summarize the entire project in about 300 words, telling exactly and involving specifically the rationale of the study, your research aim or question, the method that you are doing to use, the expected outcomes, and these are the most important things. Do not include unnecessary details. Do not make each phrase count. Write and rewrite and refine the abstract to maximize clarity. Clarity is the key. And as I said, write it in very comprehensive, easy to understand, simple, And I stress again on the rationale, the research aim, and the expected outcome. This what will make the evaluator go to read your proposal with passion. If he reads the abstract and he feels like it's not clear, or you get him lost of about what you want to do exactly, he will go into like with negative attitude reading your proposal, and this is not in your favor that your proposal will be granted. Do not give it to several peers to read. If you know that someone has previous experience in writing proposals, or someone that you trust his opinion and he's expert in the field, let him read it and tell him, please be transparent with me. I don't want to hear, mashallah, it's perfect, it's outstanding. Tell me exactly all the critiques that come to your mind, or anything that you couldn't understand. Because once we talk about clarity, that means anyone who will read it alone will understand your mind and will understand your intention, what you want to do. Then section 4 is proposal summary in Arabic. Section 5 is introduction. The main purpose behind the introduction about your research area or problem. It should generally cover the following. What has already been accomplished in the field? That means at least you have to use 10 to 15 references in your introduction section. What is the rationale behind your study? This will be stated in the introduction section. Why is it worth doing? And this B element is the most important element for a grant agency. A brief description about the proposed study, what gaps your project will really cover, what relevant work has been done by the investigator or other to indicate the expected productivity of the proposal. Here I told you we are selling a research idea to the grant agency. So you have to show them, write few lines in the introduction of a proposal about your previous experience or previous experience of the research team in the field. Show them that you conducted previous research, you have good experience in research, and you have experience in this field of clinical practice for like over 20 years. You have to give them confidence. They want to give you money. They need to feel safe and secure that I'm giving this money in secured hands, in hands that will really establish something, and the money will not be up in the air or lost without interest. The expected benefits, and I said, and any adverse event to patient, if applicable, should also be stated in the introduction. Here it's an example of a proposal we conducted. And again, so this section should justify and build the case of the project, and should put the project into the context by providing essential background information, and each background area presented, it's important to show exactly how the background directly link with the proposed project. So this introduction section should naturally progress from the description of the current state of knowledge to the gap that the proposed research will fill. This is very important. So again, is the significance, importance of the work evident? Is the work innovative? Does it contribute substantially to previous work in the field? Is the need for the study or all aspects of the study well justified? We should not overstate the significance, and we should we must be sure that this study address an important problem to be funded. As I said, your previous experience or related research should be stated. should be also allowed the investigator to convince the reviewers about the expertise and the experience they carry. In Section 6 are the objectives and aims of the study. This is the most important section of the grant. They should explore the issue that you intend to consider. They must be stated clearly, the aims, and as specifically as possible. Clearly articulated the hypothesis and do not overly ambitious or unrealistic. So having one very important question presented as one clear hypothesis is the best. We as Arab people are generous by culture and nature. It's not as like the quantity of objectives. If we have 5 objectives, that means it's a better study. No, if you have one specific important research question and you will answer it clearly with expected outcomes, this is much better than having more than one primary objective. But this doesn't mean that you cannot include secondary objectives, okay? So begin the section with a concise, accurate synopsis of the research. Follow the synopsis with clearly worded primary and secondary aims and related hypotheses. This is examples of primary objectives, like compare recurrence-free survival in patients with cancer Y on drug X compared to standard treatment. Investigate whether presence of genetic variant is associated with Parkinson's disease, and so on. So these are just examples of objectives. Secondary objectives are also like to compare the proportions of patients experiencing at least one of the following side effects, and you state what are they. So this is how they are presented in the proposal format, primary and secondary. Section 7 is literature review. So literature review serves several important issues. One, demonstrate your knowledge of the research problem. You have to really mention all previous published good research in the area of your research question. And you have to show your ability to critically appraise this literature, and ensuring that you are adding something to this existing literature and you are not only reinventing the wheel. So you have to give credit to those who have led to groundwork for your research and convince your evaluator that your research will make a significant and substantial contribution to the literature. This is very important. I will repeat it in every presentation. Before conducting any research, funded or not, if you don't feel that your research will add something to the existing body of literature, that means your research is not relevant and it's not really considered a true research. So we go to section 8. Section 8 is the research design and methodology. You have to really state the design of your study and define your study population, case identification, specify your inclusion and exclusion criteria, everything related to data collection, variable definitions, also who will collect the data, how, when, all ethical consideration, IRB approval statement, variables to be measured, outcome measures, statistical analysis, justification of sample calculation, and analysis plan, all should be stated in section 8. Section 8, I will tell you, this will be like the manual for your proposal. So all WH questions should be answered, the procedure, the instruments. So this section presents really the heart of your grant. Describe the setting in enough details, advise addressing any potential biases in this section, and assuring that this will not invalidate the study results, that will not affect the internal validity of your results, because to not put your project into jeopardy, provide data and assuring that adequate number of patients will be available for this setting. So this is section 8. You have to define if it's a clinical trial, your study and control group, and also data analysis. You have, as I said, describe your sample size calculation by defining the statistical power of the study, type 1 error, alpha p-value, type 2 error, beta, the effect size that you are looking for between the two groups. Is it less 10% of mortality, less 20% of morbidity? So everything should be given in detail. Will an intention to treat approach be used in interventional study? Is there adequate attention to potential factors? How will be missing data and no response be handled in like follow-up studies and like surveys? And that's why advised to meet with statistician as early as possible to go over these issues. So section 9 is the management of each of the team members. PI, what he's going to do, is he hire project, what is like the co-investigator will do. He will, like, we have to specify the task for each research team member in the management plan section. The time schedule or work plan, it's really, you know why? Because we are lazy. We are lazy and we are never committed to finish things on time. And this time schedule will show me continuously and regulate in reaching my goals. So if like I want to educate the ER physician about the project, and I said I want to do it in months 6 and 10, and I couldn't do it in these 2 months, so I will catch up quickly and maybe do it in month 11 and 12 before the other one comes. So I have to keep it always facing, have access to my vision to always say and could like assess if I will try my best to do like extra work during nights, weekends to catch up, because this is very important. Why it's very important? Because the grant agency will ask for progress your like your share will be and your chances will be higher next time. Section 11, you should include all the references used, and mainly in the introduction section and the literature review. And I want to tell you something. Do not ever, never try to write a proposal with less than 50 to 100 references. Tell you why? Because I will tell you about myself. When I really assess or evaluate a proposal for granting, if a researcher is lazy to read full articles to write his proposal, sometimes I receive proposal with like 10, 12 references. And there are plenty in the literature about the topic. So if the researcher is lazy from the beginning about reading related relevant literature or to come up with good literature review and good, how do you think I will be really confident that this researcher will be committed to finish or to really do a good research project? So number of references, excellent literature review, very comprehensive introduction. This will really increase your credibility as a researcher and increase your chance grant. So section 12, utilization of expected results. Even section, we rewrite it here clearly in order to be assessed and get the attention. So always, this is very important section. Okay, so will the health of many people will get improved based on your findings? Will your findings form the basis for future health benefits and so on? So utilization of expected results is a separate section, but it's written already in the introduction. You just repeat it, copy paste in this section. Current and expected funding. What that mean? You tell me, I'm applying for a fund. Why they ask me if I have a current or expected funding? Sometimes some grant agencies, they have like a ceiling. They can provide up to 500,000 riyal, maybe. This is an example. If your project will cost 700, so they cannot provide you with 700, you are entitled to submit your proposal for 2 agencies or more to ensure the needed fund. So you tell them, yes, I applied for like KFMC, and I asked them for 200, and here I'm applying to KEX asking you for 500. That's what is meant by current and expected funding. Here is the budget. Budget contains 5 main sections. Addition 10,000 for data collector A, 15 for data collector Bs. So you have to detail your budget in section 15. Section 16, all the research team, you see all our doctors, they have to sign and commit that إن المقترح البحثي وما يحتوي من جوا الصين ومن إعداد الفريق البحثي. You get responsibility that you are part of this research and you are Section 17, as I said, the PI may leave the institution, the PI may leave the country. So who will take care? The research project will stop? No, there is something before starting the research. You have to really define who will take the lead after you leave as a PI. So taking PI substitute. It's not necessarily to be the next name. They will meet, and the PI, according to the contribution and activity of co-investigator, will select one to take care of. But this will be from the beginning, before even submitting the proposal for funding. This section should be completed. And this is very important. You know why? Because if he has to decide at the end, so maybe some problems or some jealousy can be created between the research team. Why him, not me? Why her, not me? And so on. So when they know from the beginning that the PI substitute is Dr. X, خلاص, it's clear. So section 18, every investigator should put the specialties area forward, like neurology, thrombolysis, clinical research, interventional neurology, and so on. So everyone will put what are the key potential areas that really give strength to this project. Section 19 is not really important, but sometimes, rarely it is. You propose as a research team people who are expert in the field that the grant agency can call them to review your proposal. You do not have the right to really name people that are relatives or co-workers with you. But if you are, people like nationally, regionally, or internationally expert in the area, you can state a few ones of them. And section 20, because we said in the budget there is money for consultation, sometimes we search in a very rare specialty, and we need the support of a consultant to really support us in writing the proposal, or even review the final document, writing the manuscript for publication. So we give his CV and all the needed details in order to be approved. What are the successful of a grant proposal? I will try to rush. The proposed work should fit the interest on the mission of the funding agency. Before applying for a specific funding agency, I need to know what their scope for funding is. And I should prepare the proposal with really a lot of like I have to be meticulous, avoiding any errors or to show that I'm careless. So the proposal must be well written to be easy read and understood. I have to use diagram and tables whenever is possible to add clarity. Use bullet points and section, not give it all as one section. Keep to page word and font size restriction. Activate the spell checker while writing, and so on. So, an important tips, never submit a proposal before it's ready to go out. It's better to take a gap in funding than to be embarrassed by a marginal proposal. Always have someone to proofread it. Have a third person critically read it. Make sure your hypotheses are upfront and that your specific aim address them. Is the investigator appropriately trained and well suited to carry out this work? Do not involve or do not really put co-investigators that do not have a real word, because you will really hear harsh comments from the area. They won't take you seriously. They will take you on the commercial side rather than scientific side. So do not involve people that will not really contribute scientifically to the project. So all the team should be expert in the project and should add to it. And here is a template of the reviewing assessment and how much they put on it. Like literature review has 10 out of 100. Objectives 10. Methodology linked with the objective 10s, and so on. So that's where they give you the grade and give the comments about it. Try to be honest with yourself when you receive a critique proposal and you need to revise it and reapply. Be responsive to comments and critique. Don't think you are being offended. Get colleagues skilled in evidence-based medicine and expert in clinical research to read the critique. Provide the reviewers with credible, certifiable correction to any problem. Contrary to popular belief, it's not uncommon to go from a very bad score to a funded proposal with the correct fix. Be persistent, revise, and resubmit. Okay, so this is a pathway. Comes an idea. You, as a PI or investigator, you write you fill the application, you send it to the funding agency. A review group will review it, and then will give their comments and recommendation to the funding agency to approve it or not? If yes, you get the money, you start your project. So in summary, study design and protocol development is a highly individualized process. Extensive discussion is often necessary to develop a strong design and analysis plan. Involve the statistician early in the process. There is no way to get experience except through experience. It seems hard, but once you start, everything will become clearer and easier than you expect. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Tanir, for presenting this amazing and very, very important lecture. I want to ask you a question. Do you prefer to answer the question in Q&A or to move to the next session or to take a 5-minute break? So it's depend on you because attendee, they can take a break.
Yeah, I will answer the question. What is the difference between the introduction and literature review? Okay. As I said in the introduction, you give just one brief section about what have accomplished. In the literature review, you have to really critically appraise. Hello?
Yes.
You can hear me.
Yes.
In the literature review, you have to critically appraise every published study about your research question. You have to give like about at least 1 page or like 15 lines. If this is the case, tell how are their good points. And even though if you have like a critique over the study that it wasn't done properly, the sample size was small. So this is literature review is totally different than introduction. Introduction, you just give like half page or 1 page about what has been done previously. Like you said, like many research have been conducted in North America, and you state just that like brief or general statements. And I said in the introduction, it doesn't only have background. You have to talk about your rationale. You have to talk about expected outcomes. You talk about the qualification of the team. You have to talk about many things that we really stated in the introduction section. So it's totally different. It's just this very small general part is in common. Literature review, it will be critically appraising each study you want to talk about. It might go up to 30, 40 studies that you feel they are important and you want to critically appraise by giving like a good summary about each of them. Do all these steps are necessary for all type of research? Yes. For granting, yes. For go into budget, you don't have to go into consultant. You don't have to do, but for IRB purpose, you have to write your introduction. You have to write your aims. You have to write your methodology. You have to write your references. You have to write your. So this is for IRB purpose. The 20 section that I show you are for granting purpose. For IRB purpose is just objectives, methodology, statistical planning and sample size calculation, references. That's it for IRB. But for granting, yeah, everything I showed you, you have to cover. Any more questions?
There is one question in the chat, Doctor. The question from Khadija, is there a specific number of reference? 50 or 100 is a lot? And if the research a new idea, the researcher will not be able to find a lot of published paper.
Depends on your research question. Some research question, you know, we have thousands of references about, but you as a researcher, you should have the ability to critically appraise and select the good references, the potential references. You do not need to talk about references that are old. I mean, now we are in 2021 with very high tech, a lot of well-established drugs. So I don't have to bring a reference from the 1980s or 1990s anymore. So my references should be updated. My references should be critically appraised by me. I should have the skills, and I have to select the best references. But I'm saying putting very few references show that you are lazy researchers, and this will be taken as negative point for you if they need to fund you. And if the research is a new idea, the researcher will not able to find a lot of published papers. Yes. Yes, if the idea is new, you cannot find a lot of direct references, but you can use something like, if you are talking about a new treatment or new device in diabetes, you have to be really practical and smart. By defining diabetes itself, you can use 10 references. By stating that the up-to-date modalities of treatment in diabetes, you can use 20-30 references. So even though you are short in references due to the novelty of your idea, you can really be practical and smart enough to use something like around your idea, okay? But what the idea is, I'm talking about when your subject is rich in references and you use very few, okay? That's the idea. When I talk, you have to use good references. Please, so that's it. I cover all the question. I'll take just 2 to 3 minutes break and come up with the to give the manuscript presentation. This fine?
Yes, thank you, Dr. At-Tanir, for your very informative and important lecture. Just I want to add one thing, because the proposal is, there is a form for proposal for each institution which is specific for it. So please, before write research inside to give you the proposal. But what Dr. At-Tanir cover is, this is what apply for any proposal. It's only like any few difference between forms. So thank you again, Dr. At-Tanir, for your informative lectures, and see you again after 3 minutes break in the next session.